Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
What's up, friends? Welcome back to the TV Terminal. My name's Adam Vale, senior editor over at thecoalition.com. And you guys shamed me. You guys shamed me. Gene Bob, Josh, Big Nick, all of you, the list goes on. You're like, oh, I thought you loved Taylor Sheriddan. You guys love all his shows. Yeah, where's Lioness? Where's Lioness? Been watching. We just got too many. That was the thing. We had a crammed window. You see all the shows that we're covering now. We're at Reacher and man, Ted Lasso and of course the Westies. I mean, there was a bunch of stuff, but I was like, man, if only somebody can come in and help us out. And then,
I'm your huckleberry.
I'm like, wait, what? Who's that? Who's that? Well, our friend goes by the name Crow. What's up, man?
Hey, man, how you doing?
To the TV Terminal. Now, people, this man here, retired 25-year military vet. Okay, if anybody knows anything about what's happening here, it would be this one. So just give a little description. Tell people who you are.
Ex-Canadian military, will specify that. So I did my time in there, and then I took all of that tactical knowledge and decided to get into toy tubing. And then through a mutual friend, I heard that Adam was doing Lioness, and I said, yeah, I'd love to join up with that. So thanks for bringing me in.
Yes, because believe it or not, it's like some people just don't want to talk about this show. I was like, are
Why
you
not?
kidding me? This has to be one of the best seasons so far. Now, we won't have to talk about the other ones because you know what? Let's focus on here. Everybody, this is what's going on, right? I'm going to be quick with this. We're going to cover episode 1 and 2. Like you already know, we're behind the 8 ball on this. And then we're going to do an episode 3. Hopefully it'll drop next day. And then we'll be on track with episode 4 for the Sunday release. And that's it. Then we'll be just like all the other shows, drop at the same time it's out. So just want to get all that out there, but you guys already watched it. Let's get into this. All right, so we are in present day. Joe is working out. She's pumping iron. She's watching the news. It's all bad, right? Just like real life. Yay. Right? She's just having a good old time. Right? Sure enough, there's a lot of partying in the pants in this show. If you haven't watched any of the seasons, you should. But if you have, then you know what I'm talking about. She's there. Neil comes over. Hey, what about me? What about you? Looks at you're too late. That time, that window is done. All right, they go out. We see the beautiful house. We see the beautiful kids. Right? What was it, Kate and Charlie? I think that's the names.
Yeah. Katie and Charlie. Yeah.
Katie and Charlie, fantastic, right? They're all happy marriage, happy life. The dude is a surgeon and still gets to drive the kids to school. What can he not do, right? This guy is just amazing. So anyway, she sounds like she has the 9 to 5. Now, that was a big thing before last season. She got shot, whole big to do, right? But it looks like she's going to be doing a desk job, or so they think. Right, so she kisses him goodbye. She gets in her car. She drives off. She's at a red light. All of a sudden, she gets rammed from the side, rammed from the back. Oh no, I've been blown. She's on the phone with Caitlin. Help! Boop, boop, boop. And they take her away. What did you think? What did you think? Because this is a smash and grab, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, she kept yelling, "I'm being blackjacked," right? So there's your very first cool phrase that Sheriddan wants you to learn is blackjack, but. It was good. It went from domestic bliss, like you were saying, like whatever happened the last 2 seasons, her and her husband now have this good life. And then, next thing you know, she's on the phone with Caitlin and they're just chatting away while she's pulling out and boom, she's nabbed. I think it was good because he didn't build up any suspense. You never got to see it from the perpetrator's view. Like, hey, there, we're watching her pull out. Now we'll grab her. It was just, everything was fine. Then it wasn't.
Yeah. It was wild to see something like that. And I always think of like the side thing. I was like, well, what if there was somebody walking by and they watched that? Take out your phone. Who are you calling? I'm sure the video would pop up on TikTok or YouTube. It's like, look at it. Look what I just saw at a red light. You know, it looks wild. It's wild. But then we don't even continue from there because then after that, it jumps 6 months in the past. And I was like, all right,
Yeah.
this is what's going on. We see Kaylin and Byron having a meeting in the situation room, and they're talking about there's double agent. That's what I wrote down here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but people in the comments, double agent, right? She was a Ukrainian, but then also worked with the Russians, or was she a Russian agent and then sided a little bit with Ukraine?
Either way, she
Yeah.
reached out to them, right?
Yeah. That's what they said. It reached out. She wants to make some kind of exchange or for intel or whatnot. So they're like, all right, fine. They'll set it up. And then we quickly jump over. We see that Joe is running in the park. We already got everybody, Tucker and Bobby, everybody's standing guard, but they're in the park just keeping an eye on the situation. She meets up with this agent. And the agent, go ahead.
No, I was going to say Georgetown University. I remember it was at Georgetown.
Okay. Yeah. Right. So meets up, exchange information. She says, hey, listen, there is a high value target. Right. You remember his name? Do you remember this?
Yeah, it was Alexei Yurimov, I think was the name.
All right. So
Alexei Yurimov. Yeah.
All right. Now, who is he? We don't know. Right. We just know that he's a high profile target within the Russian military. And for some reason, he's on the front lines over in the Ukraine war, the whole situation going on there. Right. And she's willing to do this. Now, I don't remember why she was willing to do this, right?
Yeah. So the reason they wanted to drag the CIA or whatever, the Lioness team or the Americans in general was just. Yeah, her outfit. She described Yuri as Putin's queen, like top dog, like big dog. If anything happens, all of Russian might would come after it. And definitely the Ukrainian situation meant she wasn't equipped to deal with it. So she wanted the Americans to deal with it, so the Russians would be deterred to do that blowback and hunt it down because it was the Americans, right? That was kind of the position they were in.
Yeah. Because she was making it seem like if we do it, meaning the Ukraine, it'll be a whole to do. But if you do it, then it changes things up. But at least we get this piece off the board. It's like, okay, it's fine. Then she leaves and they head out. And like, all right, we're done with this. Then everything changes. The show just leaves the U.S. and then now we are over in Ukraine. We see everyone suit up, her whole team. We got Cruz, we got Bobby, Two Cup, Tucker. Now they're out there. They're all in tactical gear. We're seeing drones flying over. We're hearing bombs. It's a war. They're showing. This was a great scene. They really depict just war actually happening, and they just show up in the middle of this action, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is probably one of the first shows that's successfully kind of showing what's going on in the Ukraine and how he approached this. So yeah, you're right. It was when they get there, it was a massive coordination of artillery, smoke, drones. Everything was on the table. But yeah, it was two different units too, right? So you had this team and then you had your military team.
Yeah, we have speaking of that, that's Cody's team, Taylor Sheriddan. Shout out, right? His team. They're already there. So this was a lengthy scene. We even talked about it as we're watching. I was like, man, this is kind of long. Right? But it was worth it. It was definitely worth it. There was a lot going on here. But they make it to the bunker, then they go into the basement, and this is where Cody's team are. And there's a lot of back and forth. Everyone's bickering about this. It's like, why are you here? What are you doing here? Why is Joe even here? But yeah, let's hear from them.
We don't want you with us. You're acting like a bunch of fucking amateurs. You've been training in the tactics of trench warfare, Bobby? Huh? No? What about defense against a drone swarm? Been working on that? You sure have not. You are not trained for the tactics of this place.
Then what the fuck are we doing here?
Brass meets CIA to PID.
There you go. Now we know why she's there. If anybody was wondering, it's like, this makes no sense. Why does she have to go to the front lines and then do this capture here? That's not her job. That's not how she rolls. But this is it. They just need to identify. Although I'm sure plenty of people that watch this were like, well, they can't see a picture on a phone. They can't just point it. I mean, we've seen that with body cams. I feel like I've seen that multiple times in other movies. Go ahead.
No, it's their accountability at hand, right? They have to identify it.
Yeah. But they come up with this plan, right? They're like, all right, well, they're going to hit a bunch of locations within the battlefield because they know he's in one of them, right? And hopefully they find him. And so there was a lot of back and forth with the team itself, just going over this and not feeling 100% comfortable about bringing her along. Joe or the other two. And just like Cody had brought up, he's like, they're not trained in this. And if anything, I think he's right that their unit should just stay back, and it technically should just be Joe and Cody's people, right? I think that would be the safest bet.
Yeah, so I just view it as it's a nice problem to show a viewer, right? This kind of professional coordination issue that they're having between two agencies. Who's actually taking charge of this phase of the operation? You hear them arguing. Have you done trench warfare? Do you know how to fight drones? And that's often a lot of agencies' issues. Is sometimes they're trained to fight the last war, not the next war, right? And so that's what he's trying to iterate. In reality, this would have been hashed out during that period of before they even got to country, who would be in charge.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And what they did really well in this is they showed a beautiful set of orders being delivered. I mean, it wasn't like this intense set of full NATO orders, but they gave you a really good set of orders, and it followed the NATO standard format that forces use, right up to going on the sand table and telling everybody what they're doing by phase of operation. Sheridan nailed that. So I was saying, like, he gives them a break till 4 a.m. when they were going to go re-spool and launch. And during that time, they would have gotten well coordinated, because what you see next is a team that didn't have issues, right? Like when they go, they're sorted out.
Yep. And then real quick, Kyle makes this comment.
If they snatch this fucker, get him out's going to be the real trick, because Russia will chase us all the way to Poland for the son of a bitch. Yeah, we may miss the fight tomorrow, but we ain't missing the fight.
See, now it's like he's foreshadowing. He already sees this is going to come and bite us in the ass. We're stuck in this, regardless of what happens at this point. We're in it. And I'm like, how does he know the future? How does he know that all this is going to go up in their face? I could have said, unless he was just generalizing. He was like, oh, I meant the U.S. I didn't just mean you, Joe, and everybody. I thought, man, all of us. We're now involved in this because we got boots on the ground. But hey, either way, they get ready to go out there. I think it was, what was it? It was Cruz, Bobby, and they were standing back behind Cody and his dogs. And I liked that right before that, when he was giving the plan, it's like, all right, and then we send the dogs. And I think it was Cruz or was it Bob? One of them was mouthing. I was like, these macho guys, this whole thing. And it was like, no, he literally meant dogs. He had attack dogs. That was badass. I've never seen that. I've seen dogs attack and stuff in military, but never to this level of detail, to the point to where it was all strategically planned, right? They sent the smoke. They sent the fleet of drones. We have the Russians in their little bunker shooting at the drones, not paying attention to the ground. And then these dogs just mauling them, right? Jumping through the holes and just, that was wild. What did you think?
Yeah, and I loved it because it showed the level of coordination that, where Sheridan is getting these drills, I don't care. They're effective one way or the other, whether they're right out of a textbook military or not. But those dogs are closing a distance to confuse the enemy, tie them up. So when these guys come out of the smoke, there's no rounds coming at them. They get to go right into the building. No one's shooting at them because the dogs are tying everyone up. I thought that was a really fun scene to watch.
It was so fun. It was wild. It's just going in there, and then whoever's left, they would just clean them up
constantly. Right. Titan, good boy, right? Like just nonstop instruction to the dog.
They would go to another area. It was like dogs, and they, I think they made it to one of the checkpoints, and two of the guys, one on the LMGs, get shot. Right, and then Joe just grabs up and he pulls it. Cody pulls it. He's like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" He was like, "We need you alive. This is like Saving Private Ryan type of thing, like keep your head down. We need you. You're the whole reason why we're doing this. We can't have you just get shot like the last two guys that were on the gun. But what was it? I think it was Bobby that got on the gun. Right, it was Bobby that got on the gun.
Yeah, and again, it's those orders, they sort them out what you're supposed to do in every phase, and Joe definitely went against the phase, right? So yeah, he grabbed her and was like, "Get the F off that!" Like,
he just wants to prove a point. I feel she's always been at that, behind that feeling of like, oh, they look down on me, or they think because I'm a petite female that I can't hang and I can't handle myself, which she can. We saw it last season. She got shot. A whole bunch of stuff happened.
Sure.
But this is her again trying to prove that. But anyway, they're like, no, and yeah, I don't think it was Cruz that got on the gun. I think it was Bob. Hey, put in the comments. It's somebody on part of our group got on the gun. I think also two cup also. But anyway, get in the gun. They start providing cover, and then again, go with the dogs. They go in, they shoot, they kill. It was amazing how they were just cleaning house in all these rooms. Eventually, they find one bunker area. They blow the door, and this was intense because they tell Joe, it was like, all right, which one? He's like, the one with the gray beard. All right, put the other ones down.
Yeah.
I think I told you. I was like,
You
what
know,
if she screwed up? And she was like, wait, no, not that beard. The other guy. Too late.
Yeah. There was a room of like 9 guys, right? And she points one. Everybody else gets dropped.
Everybody gets dropped.
Yeah.
And then they were like, all right, where's the tracker? And then she pointed out where it is. And he was like, and they just cut it out. And then they just start beating him. And she said, we need him alive. He's like, yeah, but we don't need him trying to fight us, on their way back and squirming, which I guess makes sense, right?
Absolutely. Once you see how they got back, I mean, it was speed over security. And as soon as a guy lost control, they'd have to stop and try and get him. They'd be screwed, right? So you need him good and complacent.
It was just getting back was wild because that was the other thing. You could see on the other end, there was her crew with Tucker and everyone. And then you got the Cody's crew that were at the bunker. And they were like, hey, you got to get inside. You can't stay on the guns out there. It's like, no, we're Overwatch. We have to give them cover. We have to say, no, you get inside. The drones are coming. Like, nope, we're staying here. That's our goal. Right? We're just staying out there, which makes sense, right? What are you going to do hiding inside when you know that they're going to need cover fire on the way back?
Well, so I love what happened on the way back because it's kind of like Sheridan's way of reminding everyone there's a fog of war and visibly doing it, right? So you remember the smoke, right? When they're trying to get back in the smoke and what happened, right?
Yeah. And not only that, there literally was fog that was coming off the riverside. That was the other reason why they were doing that early morning, right? So they were like, they already had some natural fog along with all the smoke. But yeah, they popped the smoke. I got nervous here. I got nervous because I was thinking that someone was going to get lost because you heard they were like, how do we even know we're running in the right way? And it's just to follow the gunshots. We were shooting from that angle, then that's our people. But it was good. They made it. They get into the bunker. Of course, no surprise because that other soldier had pointed out about the drones, and then we see from the perspective of a drone showing up, trying to get to the bunker door, very close, but everybody makes it in. They close the door, kaboom, mission complete. They got the target. A lot of action, and just to remember, like they did get lost in that smoke at one point, and she was completely turned around. And then she's hearing instructions coming at her, like, go this way. And you see a ground-borne mobile gun drone lead her back to the bunker. Like, it was just what Sheriddan was showing you was just all this great tech and coordination, right? And it was fast. Oh, man. It was fast. Definitely fast. But they make it back inside. And it's like, all right, well, what was this for? Why were we doing this? They just kind of... I guess you want to say shell shocked because this was a lot. They're not used to this. And that's what Cody had brought up before. It's like what you're getting into here is nothing like you've experienced before. And then we get this great line from Joe.
Killed a bunch of people for a chess piece in a war that has nothing to do with us.
Oh, man. That's a controversial line right there. But this is from the perspective of a soldier out on the field. So I think it holds a little more weight. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you. There was one thing I needed to look up, and the Russian SSD, right?
Okay.
This is who the target was. He was a big player with the Russian SSD, and they keep coming up in this. And I was like, man, I'm so out of date on what the Russian acronyms are. So these are their special forces, like division of the Russian, like security forces and whatnot. So this is where their apprehension coming from. Like they're messing with the worst of the Russian, like old 80s Cold War Kremlin based ideas, right? So
Yep. Yeah, it was, man, it was very intense. I'm glad we were able to see something like this on a TV show. It was great. It was definitely great. One of the dogs did get injured, but the handler brings her back, and it's like, she sounds like she's going to survive. But of course, the team is upset. They did lose 2 of their members, I was like, all right, what now? What now? We go back. That's it. Mission complete. We go back exactly the same way we came in. The next scene, we're back in the States. Joe gets home late. She gets his Neil. I am home. Oh, should we get up? No. We're gonna have the party in the pants now. Nope. Too late. Go to sleep. Right? She goes downstairs. She remember they've had that a few times where she just showed up from home and stuff. But she's having a drink, and then all of a sudden there's a knock at the door. I'm assuming this was early morning, right? 2, 3, whatever, like that. It's like because she said it's very early, very late, and that's usually what that means. 3.
Yeah, and this 4. Will come up later, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah. No one should be knocking at the door at that hour anyway. But she does the proper thing, right? She still has a lock on it, the chain. It says, "All right, who are you? Oh, we're state police. Can you come outside, ma'am?" They would never say that. Never say that. Just come outside for what? She's like, for what? Oh, we have to talk outside. That makes no damn sense. Show me your ID. Show me your badge. Then the other guy that's with him said something. He has an accent. She instantly knows they're not police, but shit, don't worry about it. You wait right here. I'm gonna get the police. She goes to close the door again. They kick it open, but she has her sidearm. She's always packing, and she drops the first one. The other one goes running off. She drops him, and that's it. That's when she calls Caitlin. She's like, I've been blown. This is it. Dum, dum, dum. Now her family definitely knows that this is very much like True Lies, but that's not funny. You remember the Arnold Schwarzenegger, that whole thing?
Yeah.
Where
Your job isn't what you say.
Yeah, exactly. And for the longest time, she was like, yeah, she works for the government, but she doesn't really do anything. Of course, Neil knows, but the kids didn't. And now at this point, they do. There we go. And that was episode 1. That was episode 1, really fast. And then now let's just get into episode 2, The Sorrow for the Survivor. Oh, man. Very sad. Very sad. This episode wastes, again, no time. All right. We see that the bad guys here, they are carrying Joe. This is present day. They bring her into a room. I thought they cut her clothes off. That's what it sounded like. Now, her eyes were closed. Right, we're seeing from her perspective, but it sounded like they were just cutting off her clothes stuff. And there was a doctor or somebody there who was of intelligence who knew, who was like, all right, where's your tracker? We don't do those type of things. We don't go there. Yeah, everybody does it. You're a spy. So that right there tells me what they do know exactly who she is. So it's not like they're holding her hostage for some other negotiations or anything. They know exactly who she is. When they start, where's your tracker? I don't have a tracker. All right, well, guess we're gonna do this a hard way. And they make a point to make the smacking noise with the glove, like here we go, probing. And they probing downtown, and you can see that it is not comfortable. And she's still saying, no, I don't have any of this. They would go off at the airport. This is not how we do things. But man, once they flip her over and they're like, here we go, then she's like,
right. There's a point where her training told her, it was like, yeah, they have not bought any of the lines, and it's time to stop, right? Like I'm on my face right now.
Oh yeah. This is not going to go well, and it's going to keep going. And that's the other thing. Whether obviously they're not going to find if they go digging in certain spots, but it just tells her that they're not going to stop. So she said, "Hold up, all right." She was like, "My left big toe," and then I guess they felt around, they felt it, and they cut that thing out. Took it out. They're like, all right, we got it. All right, get dressed. I don't know. And you said it. They probably brought some other clothes, for her. They're gonna mask her up or put a disguise or something like that.
Yeah, there was definitely a shift once they had found that tracker. Is like mission over. That was the mission, was to detrack her, and they start treating her a little bit differently. The whole objective was to get her buck naked and find that thing. It was a high degree of search.
Yeah. So they knew exactly who she is and where she works, and that she did have a tracker, which means she's a valuable asset in the whole system here. It wastes no time showing the crews and everyone. They show up. They're following the tracker. They show up to the site. They breach the door. They search all the rooms. There's no one there, but they do find the tracker. And they're like, all right, she's not here. And then they call that in to Caitlin. Caitlin tells Byron. It's like, oh, man. And Caitlin's, I was like, is she already concerned that Joe is going to flip? Because she was like, we have to get her out. She's going to start talking. It's like, what do you mean she's going to talk? It's like, everybody breaks. The longer this goes, the worse it is for us and for Joe, right?
Yeah, I think Caitlin's concern from the start, and everybody's really was like, what caliber of retribution is coming out of snatching Yurimov? Like, who are they sending? And the more that we get into it, you realize they're sending the best of the best, or whatever. Like some special forces, there's a high degree. So Caitlin's pretty concerned about the blowback of, Joe saying the wrong thing to Russians. I'm quite sure.
Yeah. It's gonna get messy. But the fact that they left the tracker intact shows that they're playing a game. Because you had brought it up too. It's like they could have broke it, right? They could have just taken it out and crushed it and was like, that's it. But they want her team to find it, to let them know, yeah, we're playing this game. Okay, you have something that we want, and we have something you want.
Yeah, it's absolutely an assets game at this point. So there's some pretty plain language left at every scene that they do, which is basically the US talking to their adversary and back and forth, right?
Yeah. We jump over to the house. We see it's in the morning. Neil's got the kids in the car. It's time to take him to school. He's an awesome dad. He's an awesome guy. I don't see no carpooling. I don't see no yellow bus. That's how I had to get around. Sometimes I had to take the public bus. No, daddy's doing all the driving, right? So he's driving out, and he quickly, from the corner of his eye, sees down which shows me that this was quick. This happened really close to her home. This must have been around the corner, right?
It was literally half a block. Yeah, half a block away. Yeah.
And he's like, hold on, kids, I left my wallet. He gets out, turns it, and just hauls it. And once he gets it, because he sees it's his wife's car, and then Caitlin's there, and like, calm down. What happened? Calm down. Don't worry, she's gone. You guys probably already talked about this. Worst case scenario is that this, maybe not. But we're dealing with, I'm going to tell the kids they're going to see the car. Take another road. Do something else. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
He gets back. Yeah.
Huge crutch on the kids needing the phones, right? Like the kids were locked into their phones in the back seat the whole time when he pulled out, right? And even when he pulled out the second time. So
it saved the day in this situation, right?
Yeah.
Because they're really not paying attention. And then he makes it back, and he's like, there seems to be some traffic or something like that. We're going to take the long route. That's it. And then we'll be good. Everything will be fine. So it's like, oh, okay. And then now we do the time jump. Now we go back, right? The 6 months later. We're doing a lot of this. And we see a lot of this. So now we're assuming that this is we're seeing the same time that Joe went home. This is Cruz now walking through the door. She's with her girlfriend, Aaliyah. Right? She's upset there's no dinner on the table. She's like, man, not even a Pop-Tart or a Hot Pocket, nothing. But you know what? She's getting dessert. Aaliyah's like, here we go. And then they just go straight into the tub, right? There we go. Now, I told you this. You didn't watch this, but all the other guys and gals out there that watch all the Taylor Sheridan shows, we saw a scene like this in the Madison with Kurt Russell and Michelle Pfeiffer when they were in the tub, and Kurt Russell was giving his wife a foot massage and then talking about his day and the whole thing. And this is what we get here. We get Cruz there. Leah's giving her a foot massage and saying, how was your mission? He's like, well, it was successful. That's all I could tell you. I mean, it is what it is. And then they're about to, progress this fun time in the tub, and her phone starts going off. And we know exactly why it's going off. It's because of everything that just happened with Joe, right?
So what I appreciated about this scene is just how episode 1 started and how episode 2 started. It's two efforts at the same thing, right? Like, Keith wanted to go get a piece of Joe in the shower at the start of episode 1, and he was denied, right? Start of episode 2, somebody's having far better luck. Good on you, Tyler, on showing us this.
Yeah. People getting close. They were getting close to it. It looked like it was going to happen at some point.
It's important to the plot.
It is. It definitely is. Right. But the team, now we're back at the house. We got everybody there. Local police are there. Caitlin shows up, and she's trying to just get everything under control, trying to figure out what's going on here. The team is walking around. They talk to local PD. They see the bodies. They were like, all right, did you guys check the backyard? They're like, no. Why? What? Check the perimeter. You said it. I mean, anybody would know. Check the perimeter. That means the house, the location, right? That's everything. That's
You're
not like
secure.
Well, we check exactly. They even go upstairs. We should have went in the house. Yeah, you didn't think maybe there was somebody that came in from the back door while the guys were at the front door? What the hell? But they're like, all right, we're gonna go. They take a look. They're gonna go investigate. Same time, Caitlin tells Joe, "You gotta get out of here. We gotta bring you in for briefing. I gotta say to talk to my kids. Now they know what I do." It's like, yeah, you know what? We'll bring them to the safe house. We'll make sure that on their phones they're watching True Lies, and everything will be fine. Right? They'll understand by the time we get to that location. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, she takes them out. Now we follow the crew. Right? Tucker and them. They're walking out there. They're like, all right, there's got to be somebody that was watching them. He takes the high ground. He takes a look, and then he says this.
Order identified. Rooftop, far side street. 3 houses to the northeast. Don't wait for me.
Don't wait for me. I'm going Rambo. That's what I got. I was like, man,
Yeah.
and I get you got to show that tension that you're pissed, you're upset. This is your boss here. This is Joe, and you're gonna do whatever you can, right? This is
Yep.
but it's
And
kind of
this is I liked how they came about that revelation too, because they had just realized like, hey, somebody came at Joe with a 2-man team. That's not how anybody would snatch an asset like that. And that's when they realized like there still has to be members of this team still around. So they started looking for them with thermal and found them, right? And then you get that quote, right? They dial it in and then they go hunting. Yeah.
You go with the scope. Yeah. So he heads off to go find him. He talked about it was like 2 houses down to the left or something like that. The rest of the crew going down. We get this one. I guess it makes sense. It makes sense. It's not really a throwaway scene. Shout out to Lawrence. He would always have like, why are they at this? I was like, we see a guy get out the door. What's going on out there? Say, close the door. FBI. Should I call the police? Should we are the police? Don't you see the vest? Don't you see the weapon I have in my hand? It says FBI. It was just funny, but I think that's what it was. If anything, it was a little comical just to like ease the tension, because then he's like, all right, go inside. But yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I mean, the pattern of life in that area doesn't change. Neighbors react to why cops are in their neighborhood, and at that point, they'd been there for a while, right? So,
yeah. And I'm sure that there's neighbors, and it would have been funny if you're like somebody out there with their spouse, whatever. It's like, I told you something was going on in that house. I told you something with her. All these vehicles, SUVs with tinted windows, dropping her off and picking her up. Told you,
well,
probably.
And that's what I get about the spotters that they find. I'm like, these neighbors are so astute, but they can't. Like, wouldn't you hear somebody climbing around on your roof, like, but plot device, like we just moved.
Yeah. Right. The crew take down 2 guys. Right. They don't kill them. They just take them down, zip tie them. Like, all right, we got them for later. Tucker now comes in contact with one guy, and he's like, "Oh, I'm looking for my dog." I was like, "Oh, really?" And then he hears from the comms. I was like, "Yeah, we got 2." And he was like, "Hey, what's going on there?" He gets knocked out 1 punch. It's like, all right, we got him.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the third guy.
Yep, the third guy. All right. So then communicates with Bobby. How's everything going? Well, I think there's got to be a driver. And they're like, how do you know? It's like, well, if I was doing this, I would have a driver. There's got to be a driver. That way you can get people in and out. So it's like, all right, well, how are we going to do this? And I think it was 2 Cup that grabs one of the guys down, right? He grabs their hat, he puts it on, and he says, I'm going to walk around the block and see if anybody approaches me. Man, no time wasted here. Because once he starts walking around, a car slow rolls right next to him. And I don't think I don't remember him saying anything to him, but he just turns around. He pops.
Yeah, they had a stare down, and when he realized it wasn't actually his buddy, it was somebody disguised as his buddy. The driver got out, and they were going to shoot him, but he shot 2 Cups shot first. He greedoed that guy.
Yep, and it took him down. And then we see that Neil and the kids, they're getting moved. They get in the car. They're getting taken somewhere safe. And this is it. We're done with the house. Then we jump over to Caitlin and Joe in the car. They're heading over to do the debrief with Edwin, Monty, the whole crew, right, to get that done. Then Joe says, you know what? I think they had other intentions.
By 5 or 10 minutes, if I would have taken a shower instead of pouring myself a drink, which is what I do normally, every other time I come home, that's why I didn't have badges. Somebody was supposed to answer the fucking door. They've been on me, Caitlin, for a while, a long while. I still don't see a plan. The plan was to kill me, then kill my family, then see who bothers to show up so they know who to kill next.
That's a lot. We also didn't mention, but they brought it up really quick because they found their IDs that these were Russian nationals, right? I think 2 were Romanian. 1 was an actual citizen or with a green card. But yeah, that they consider them underlings. Like they didn't send the best of the best. But then it's still kind of weird that then Joe says all this, like, oh well, they were coming in to just take out my family. They weren't expecting anyone to answer the door. But if that's the case, then why ring the doorbell? You know what I mean? You know someone is going to at least wake up. If you're going to go and you're going to do something like this, you would just pick the lock or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it would be. I think if you're doing that, you're doing the formalities for anybody out on the street that's watching to say, "Did you notice anything abnormal?" Right? No, they rang the doorbell. They, went away or whatnot. But yeah, I noticed they pointed that out. But
all right.
But
You know
again,
what?
they were under surveillance too, right? Like they had their
Yeah.
people watching them as well. So
yeah, and I think at this point she doesn't know what we all know with Tucker and noticing the spotter and all that stuff, because that was only provided
That's a
to
good
Bobby
point.
as info. So yeah, they're in the car. They don't know all this. They don't know that. So she was spot on. She was being watched. She had surveillance on her for a while from these people. But I don't know if they would have. I don't know. We need more.
Well,
There's a lot of questions. A lot of questions. With
right
this.
from the hop, though, this is what they were afraid of: is what are we committing to if we do this task as far as blowback? And now they're just gauging that blowback. Like, who exactly is coming after? Holy crap! They're trying to kill us. Like our
On
covert
US
agency
soil. Yeah,
on
like
U.S. soil, right?
And then she's a high player in the CIA. They're like, no, she was like, oh, you're untouchable. She was like, how could you tell me that right now? You see what just happened? Clearly, I am. They're reaching for me. This is gonna happen. And then she even says it. Caitlin's like, well, you know what? It's not over. Then they're gonna keep coming. The way she said it, like it was just go ahead.
Caitlin did a great job of keeping her engineered too, right? Because as soon as she realized she wasn't going to be able to tell anything to Joe that was going to make her feel better, she looked at her watch and says, "You've got 20 minutes till we get there. That's how long you've got to feel sorry for yourself. Things are rolling, right? Like, just realign you."
Byron shows up at a dinner meeting with Monty. While they're at this restaurant, he notices that he sees Maxim. He is someone who works at the Russian embassy, and he's sitting there with all his embassy crew people. That's what I'm assuming, right? It's like everybody that's there, but he's rolling with a whole group of guys. And Byron approaches him. It's like, "What are you doing here? What's going on? Why are you here?" And then they do a little song and dance about how things work. And basically, this is where Maxim says, "Hey, I want to do a trade. Someone from your area took something of ours that we know, and we want it back." And I was like, "You don't come on our soil with these threats. You have nothing to offer here." And he's like, "Well, make a trade." He brings up the reporter, brings up the basketball player who got busted with some weed. Now I think about that basketball player. Wasn't she there for like a year or something? It was like a long time.
I never knew when she got out. You just knew when she went in, right? That was just it.
Yeah. Eventually, when it came out, I felt it was much later. She was definitely there for a while. But yeah, he basically says, "Don't throw any threats." This is Byron. "Don't throw any threats here, or else I'll just deport everyone from your embassy. I'll just get them all out." And he was like, "All right, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens there."
I love the direction that whole conversation took just after Byron recognized him when he decided, "I'm going to that table." Because it wasn't just a matter of going and sitting down. He made it a point to grab a chair from another table, like 5-10 feet away, and drag that thing right across the floor and sit down in front of him. Like, this conversation is going to happen. You're in the corner now.
Yeah. It was good. Good scene.
Yeah.
Another good scene jumps right into it. We see where Caitlin and Joe, they show up at the meeting room to talk to Edwin. We also was it Stephanie? Is that her name? I'm blanking on her name. There was another person that was in the room. Oh, I'm blanking. And they're just getting things ready, situated, just talking about what's happening. Do you know anything? Oh, I just woke up, whatever. But then Byron shows up, Monty shows up, and then they do a debrief, and it's pretty much everything that we know, right? They go through the whole process, talking about that there was a Russian agent that approached Joe, and bada boom, bada bing, they go over there, they take the target that they have. Where is that target now? Target's getting questioned, and then we'll see what happens with POTUS, whatever they want to do. We can even put war crimes, put them in jail here, and we don't have to get the UN involved. They go through this whole thing of what they're going to do next. But at the same time, Joe's quiet. And they're like, what's going on? What's wrong? What do you think's happening here? And then she says
The
this.
least amount of variables is most likely the answer, and the least amount of variables here is the agent from Ukraine. She hooked us. My guess is Yurimov is still on the Russian front, and we're sitting on some actor from the fucking Mazavat theater.
There we go. I didn't even think about that. It
Yeah.
was like, oh, wait a minute. Because they were trying to figure out how did they find her? How did they know that they should be going for Joe? And they said she was wearing a helmet. She had the goggles. Oh, maybe somebody saw you back on the field. No one survived. They're all gone. But there's this double agent. Go ahead.
And he did that. He tucked that away as a reveal so well because, I mean, all you were really noticing, you and I kept talking about it, was how fast episode 1 happened for action, plot move. Like, it was talk about the target, have the target, next episode. Right. And at no point did anybody really question that target enough, and now you're starting to see she's put it out there. That might not have even actually been the real person at any point. Right. It could have just been somebody planted there.
Exactly.
To expose them.
Yeah. And to go as far as even putting the tracker in the spot that they know. But even that could have been BS, because where'd they get that tracker info? That was all the info provided from the double agent.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's like all of it could all be BS.
But now they've brought a face back. They know who somebody is, and now the intelligence game turns around on them, right?
Yeah. And they're like, all right, we'll figure this out. And then sure enough, we see that Neil and the girls are in the car with Bobby, and I think Two Cup was driving, and they're heading off to do the safe spot. And that's when Bobby gets a call, and it's like, wait, hold on, change of plans, right? We're pulling over. They get out of the car. They had the other car in the back. They had Kyle. They're like, all right, Kyle, Cruz, we got to go and do something else now. And sure enough, that's what happened. So they split. So then we jump over. We see that Kyle and Cruz, I'll just get this part here because this was pretty cool. They show up at the bar. This is another bar that I guess all these Russian politicians and other types hang out. That's what I got from this information, because then once Kyle sits at the bar, this is the Russian agent. She instantly is like, what the hell is he doing here? And she approaches him. It's like, you're going to get me killed. You got to get out of here. And he's like, I'm not getting out until you come with me. We got to talk. It's like, no, I can't. Oh, I'll drag you out. Puts the threat, and it's like, all right, go ahead.
No, it's just like, exactly. It's the threat that she processes it, and she walks out.
Yeah,
I like that.
Now, I don't think. I mean, we'll get into it at the end, real quick, a discussion on it. But just her, the way she was handling herself around Kyle, I don't think she was stressed to the point that she knew what took place. You know what I mean? I don't think she knew about the people going to the home and any of that stuff. I don't think she was privy to any of that info. And we'll find out if even what she thought, maybe she was even being played. You know what I mean? Maybe whoever told her this was the intel that she could pass along was the one setting everything in motion.
It could be, because you're definitely right. Like, by the time Kyle had mentioned, like, hey, I can drag you out of here. I'll get violent. I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. Nothing's going to stop me from getting you. The gears turning in her head, the way she was picturing it. It wasn't somebody that was panicking about this situation. It was somebody trying to really assess what cards they had left. Right. And she's definitely walked out of there like she still had cards in her hand, but they're not sticking in that hand very long. Like,
she's like, oh, well, we'll talk about this tomorrow or something. He's like, it's already tomorrow. What? My ride's here. And he just bumps her, gets her in the car, cruises there. She starts mouthing off, and then she punches her in the face, backhand or whatever. She's very shocked by all this, which tells me that she doesn't know about any of the stuff that was planned or what took place.
Yeah, she had misassessed how well she was doing.
Yeah. So they're definitely going to question her, and I think that's going to be interesting to see what she has to say. A part of me, from like we just said about the way she was carrying herself and in her actions here, I don't think she was in on any of this. I don't think she knew about it. I think she thought she was actually sharing valid, legit intel. So
well, that's what I like about how Sheriddan kind of writes these things, is before he goes and commits you to a suspicion, like, he kind of presents you as a few things are possible and lets you ponder on that here a little bit, right? So more of that he does well. Yeah.
We get to the safe house, right? Everyone's there. It's a nice mansion. They said it was like a general's house, but he's away. It's like, okay, that's fine. This is your Joe showing up, and they're like, all right, the kids are there, but he's at the bar. So it's like, all right. So she goes over there, and I love this scene. I love this scene
It
because
was a good scene.
as much as we appreciate Joe, we appreciate you. She doesn't have to prove anything to us, the viewers. We've watched. We no nothing to prove. You're a badass and with the mind games and on the battlefield. We get that, right? And we see the sensitive side. We see that this was the pain that she's dealing with because she's walking up to him. He says, "Get closer," and she doesn't come up with any excuse or anything. She just starts bursting out crying. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. She's just panicking, and he realizes that. And because remember, she was like, "Oh, my husband's gonna leave me. My kids are gonna be traumatized." She was paranoid by the whole thing, and it was like, no, it's. And they have that bonding moment over what just happened here, and it was tragic. It was tragic, but you know what? I'm sure his main concern it was her, and now he knows that she's alive, she's okay. Now, again, remember this was the past. It was 6 months in the past, so I'm gonna see how everything else pans out. There was a little quick scene where we see Aaliyah with the kids, and one of the daughters was like, "Hey, do you know karate?" Because she was like, "I'm going to protect you," and she was like, "Got a gun." It was like, "Yeah, gun beats karate." That was fun.
I thought it was cute because it was kind of like, man, like you're just getting to know this bodyguard, and you're gonna have to realize you might not even know your own mom, right? Like you're asking her questions you could ask your mom.
I thought, see, and then anything, I thought she was gonna say that. She was like, "Hey, what happened to my mom? Or do you work with my mom?" Now we heard that in the car when Neil was talking to Bobby. Do you know my wife? I can't talk about it. I take that as a yes, and the same thing here. I was expecting the daughter. I think this was the younger one, right? This was Kate. I think that had said it, but it does.
Katie or Charlie? Yeah, I don't know which.
Yeah, Kate or Charlie. Yep. Their daughter's there, but it was good. Now we see. I have a feeling Aaliyah is going to be a big part of this. Just keeping an eye. She's a buddy. She's going to keep an eye with the kids. She's supposed to stay close, and then we'll see how everything pans out with Joe and Neil. And there's a lot going on, but I'm really curious to see what this Russian agent has to say because I think that's going to open up more to see if the agent was played because that's what I'm assuming.
I mean, you can. We're only 2 episodes in, so there has to be more twists, right? It has to be.
Yep. Yeah. And we're done. There we go, people. So now you can stop shaming me and shaming Lawrence. So please, no more with the hate. But you know what? Let's all thank Crow for showing up and filling in. And it's like, you know what? I got this. Let's go. And here he is. And he's going to stick with us for this season. I think it's 8 episodes, right? That's all we got. But like I said, we're going to catch up. We're going to have another one done 3. And then when 4 drops, it'll drop on Sunday, just as the episode. So we're all caught up. And that way we can all have the discussions like usual in the comments and stuff. But hey, thank you. Thank you all for the likes, the hypes, the shares, just hanging with us. This is always fun. We talk about the shows that we're watching. And that's what it's all about, right? Having a good time talking about it. And then we got our buddy Crow. Crow, where can they find you?
You could pop over onto my YouTube channel, Crusty Old Crow, or you could probably find me on Insta, and that's about it right now.
That's it. That's it.
And that's it.
That's fine. That's fine. Where people find they find me here on the YouTube. That's pretty much I troll the chats. That's what I do. And I got the other socials. You'll see it. It's at the Adam Vale. That's over at the Instagram and then also on Threads, but pretty much I'm pretty full. Yeah, my hands are always full with all the comments and stuff that happen here and also on Spotify. Shout out to everybody on Spotify. Very active with the comments there. I'm always surprised by that. All right, everybody. Thank you. And we'll be back with episode 3 within probably a day. You'll just see that there. Definitely before the weekend and when we'll start getting all caught up. All right. Thank you all.